Hello campers, this is the Suburban Camper and this is a video on how to turn your SUV into a camper. My definition of a camper is a portable dwelling providing a shelter for sleeping while spending time outdoors. A camper can also be a place for cooking, eating, and sanitation, and while it is possible to outfit an SUV to meet these needs, I believe the better approach is to focus your conversion efforts on sleeping comfortably in your SUV while maintaining its ability to haul all your gear. If you truly want to cook, eat, and address your sanitation needs inside a shelter, an RV is probably a better option. RVs are great. I've owned two of them and I will own another one when I fully retire, but I also know what happens when you camp in an RV. You end up spending less time outside. Camping is supposed to be about enjoying the outdoors, and I find sleeping in my SUV and meeting all my other needs outside the SUV enables me to maximize the time I spend enjoying the great outdoors. Let's start with the one thing you should not do when you turn your SUV into a camper, and that is build a raised sleeping platform. I do not understand why so many people see that as step number one in the process. Yes, you absolutely need a flat and level surface to sleep on, but you also need space to move around, comfortably sit up, and store all your gear, and a raised platform will limit your ability to do all those things. I love looking at YouTube video thumbnails with people in the back of their SUV camper and they are sitting up with their heads awkwardly tilted sideways due to the lack of headroom. Or they are lying down because it is the only position they can be in while inside the vehicle. Regarding the storage space underneath a raised platform, it seems some people believe it creates more space, but that is not the case, even if you utilize slide outs. The key to maximizing storage space is the ability to take full advantage of all the floor-to-ceiling cargo space, and a raised platform puts limits on that space. A perfect example of this is in my Suburban, where I can stack 17-gallon storage bins 3 high, but with a platform I would only be able to stack them 2 high, which significantly reduces the cargo carrying capacity. Yes, there is space underneath the platform to accommodate some of that cargo, but the tight space restricts you to storing smaller items there, and without slide outs, it is a difficult place to access. If your vehicle does not have fold flat capabilities, then you should modify it to create a flat sleeping surface, but the primary goal in that process should be to maintain as much of the floor to ceiling space as possible. Once you have a flat sleeping surface, whether it is level is highly dependent upon the spot your SUV is parked on. Perfectly flat spots are rare, so I utilize RV leveling blocks to level my SUV. I park it on the flattest spot possible, and then I place a small level on my mattress and measure front to back and side to side. Over time, I determine 1/4 of the bubble equals 1 leveling block. For example, if the bubble is in the middle when measuring side to side, but halfway out of the middle towards the front of the vehicle when measuring front to back, I will place 2 blocks under the front wheels. It's not an exact science, but it usually gets me close. Once the wheels are squarely on the blocks, I set the emergency brake and chalk a wheel. Now, the key to a comfortable night of sleep is staying cool when it is hot and warm when it is cold. Airflow and shade are the most important factors for staying cool, so in hot or warm weather I roll all my windows down, open the sunroof, and then cover them with skeeter beater window screens. In the summertime, I will also utilize a 12-volt fan with a deep cycle battery to get air flowing directly on me and Zoe. If there is not enough shade from trees, then I will set up my canopy and place it over the top of the vehicle, which can lower the temperature by about 10 degrees. Insulation and a heat source are the most important factors for staying warm inside your SUV. Most of the time, I don't try and warm the interior of the vehicle with a heat source, and instead, I dress accordingly and focus on keeping my body warm. I utilize outdoor rugs for a layer of insulation on the floor, and I place a 4-inch memory foam mattress on top. A good sleeping bag is the most important defense against the cold, but I prefer to use a 20-degree sleeping bag year-round as I find it more comfortable. So when the outside temperature is at or just below freezing, I utilize a couple lightweight down blankets on top of my sleeping bag for extra warmth. When it is well below freezing, I also use a 12-volt electric blanket powered by a deep cycle battery. The key is to put it inside your sleeping bag and you will be nice and toasty in no time. Now that you have a comfortable place to sleep, you need to figure out how to haul your gear. I am certainly not opposed to minimalist camping, but my motto is camp anywhere and prepared for anything. And I have plenty of space in my SUV, so I haul a lot of gear. The key to hauling all this gear is storage bins, and I recommend using the same type and size for all your gear, which makes it easier to load, unload, and store your gear. I also utilize a rooftop cargo carrier, a hitch cargo carrier, a cargo rack, and a cargo box. It is a bit excessive, but this storage space outside of the vehicle provides more space inside the vehicle, which enables me to keep the bed set up when I am solo camping and carry plenty of gear for the activities I love to do while camping. It requires a good system to keep all this organized, so I categorize everything and each category has a dedicated bin. I have a checklist of all the items I carry and it is organized by the storage location of each item. I also have set loading and storage configurations to help me quickly load up and get on the road, set up and tear down camp, and unload. Probably the most important thing when you turn your SUV into a camper is to secure your load. If you want to put a cabinet, lamp, or potted plant in the back of your SUV, go for it, but for goodness sake, please secure it. Every item you load in a vehicle is potentially a missile if you slam on the brakes or get in an accident. I utilize a cargo net and I make sure heavy items such as the deep cycle battery and Yeti cooler are independently secured. As far as the cooking and kitchen setup for your SUV camper, keep it simple. If there's a picnic table, that's your kitchen. If there isn't a picnic table or it's raining, I use my hitched cargo carrier as a kitchen. I use cargo bars to make sure it is secure and level, put the stove on top, oak planks on the bottom, plop down the cooler, water jug, and my kitchen and food bins, and call it good. And when it comes to sanitation, if you leave enough overhead clearance and room in the back, and you carry a bottle and or a bucket, you can probably get it all done inside, but I also recommend utilizing a portable toilet with a privacy tent. So, there you have it. That is how you can turn your SUV into a camper so all your needs can be met and you can enjoy the great outdoors. If you learned something from this video, please subscribe. And if you want to learn even more about how to turn your SUV into a camper, check out my website, suburbancamping.com. Thank you very much.